JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is among the longest-running manga franchises in its nearly 30-year history, and time again, it has lived up to its title. As a shonen manga staple, JoJo brings us cool and stylish heroes facing off against a rogues gallery of zany villains with inexplicable powers that escalates all the way until the true villain at the end. But every now and then, you get a guy who jobs so hard, you wonder, why did Dio keep this guy around? To make this list, you have to at least have a name, and you have to pose as either a hero or a villain, so you can't just be one of those collateral damage casualties that gets bodied as the result of someone else's fight. We're also only listing jobbers that showed up in the anime, so that's only from parts 1 through 3. I'm A.B.I, and I'm counting down the top 6 JoJobbers.
JoTaroのスタンドの下を食いちぎろうとしたこいつはやはり奴だ。タロットでの塔のカード、破壊と災害、そして旅の中止の暗示を持つスタンド、タワーオブグレー。
Early on in Stardust Crusaders, Jotaro and the gang catch a plane out of Tokyo on their way to Cairo. Since Dio's first assassin turned into one of Jotaro's bros, his next assassin needs to be more nefarious and cunning. So, while mid-flight, the gang is attacked by Tower of Grey, a killer fly capable of ripping off heads and blinding fast speed. Actually, let's talk about that. The only difficulty Tower of Grey poses to the group is that it is small and fast, as the show will happily narrate. How is it justified that Jotaro's Star Platinum, who at this point in time demonstrated the speed and precision to subconsciously stop a bullet fired to the head at point blank, is unable to stop a freaking fly? The answer? Because we haven't seen what Kakyoin can do, and we need to somehow forge a scenario where Jotaro is ineffective.
その武器さえなければ顔の皮をマスクを剥ぐようにそぎ取ってやったもの。俺の名はワイヤードのベックズ。
Near the finale of Battle Tendency, young Joseph Joestar and Hamon master Lisa are exploring a mansion in Sweden in search of the ancient Aztec pillarmen who are in hiding. Suddenly, without warning, the two are waylaid by a vampire named BECK, who has the power to turn his body hair into spikes. But since we don't know what Lisa can do yet, BECK eats Lisa's cool Hamon scarf for us to enjoy. He would be higher on the list, but he's partially responsible for inspiring Rose from Street Fighter, since we needed a scene where Lisa bodies someone with a magic scarf. In Phantom Blood, Jonathan Joestar is battling the vampire Dio Brando on his castle patio, and the odds aren't looking good. Suddenly, Dio calls for his undead hordes to ambush the Hamon warriors and Speedwagon. Then these four ghouls politely introduce themselves before being crushed to death by straights on a chandelier. So I guess we needed this scene to show that straights can kick things and that Araki liked Led Zeppelin. The Stardust Crusaders are storming Dio's summer home in Cairo when the group gets separated by a trap. Polnareff, Abdul, and the dog Iggy cautiously traverse the twisted labyrinth below, until Iggy punches a wall and reveals that the labyrinth is just an illusion created by a guy named Kenny G. We're ranking this guy higher than the four zombies because Kenny G's labyrinth didn't even slow down the gang by any significant amount of time, and that he doesn't even get to introduce himself. Even the zombies got at least that.
This
Team Stardust is close to finding Dio and putting him down once and for all. Suffering the loss of both Abdul and Iggy at the hands of Vanilla Ice, our heroes continue on, knowing that their lives are truly on the line. So since they're a little short-handed, let's throw them a jobber who'll tell them exactly where Dio is. NUKESAKU is a vampire whose only powers are to contort his limbs and that he has a second face on the back of his head that looks like a woman's. His only trick is to pretend to be a woman, then strike from behind. He is so pitiful that even the other villains shit on him. And he's ranked this high because not only did he pose zero threat to the heroes, he also helped them find Dio. Now before we conclude, the number 1 spot is not Oingo and Boingo, and let me explain why. To be a jobber, you have to demonstrate that the heroes are strong without putting up a fight in return. With Oingo and Boingo, the heroes don't even realize they're under attack and aren't actually doing anything to thwart them. That's not a demonstration of the hero's power, that's just a villain's ineptitude, and a far more entertaining venture than trying to justify why Star Platinum can't catch a fly. Unlike the vile, heartless, and nefarious villains they often face, JoJo heroes are exemplified by their bravery, tenacity, cunning, and posing ability. When a new hero enters the fold, the group gains a valuable ally with new powers that contribute to their ability to overcome the villains. Which brings us to Dire, the only hero on this list of jobbers. Dire is one of the Hamon warriors who joins Jonathan Joestar on their way to storm Dio's castle in Phantom Blood. He uses his first scene to introduce viewers to his special move, the Thunder Split attack, and also to establish that his one special move is easily thwarted by Jonathan. So when the group finally confronts Dio, Dire steps up instead to unleash his most powerful attack. You know, the one that didn't even work on Jonathan, who probably has a total of 2 weeks of Hamon training, and now he's going to use it against Dio, who spent his 2 weeks subjugating a castle town and gorging on blood to increase his power? And surprise, he dies to a power that we already know Dio has. No, don't just try to play it off like you're cool or something. No, you're a jobber. End of story. And that was the top 6 JoJobbers. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments if you know any JoJobbers I might have left out. Also, feel free to subscribe while we wait for part 4 to start airing, and leave us a fabulous tip on our Patreon to support our channel. This is A.B.I, withdrawing coolly.